Catherine Milton, and I'm so sorry not to be there. A long planned trip to hike across England is the only reason I'm not there, because I will say the experience of working on AmeriCorps and helping to build and plan it and work with so many of you was the highlight of my life. And there's so few times in our lives that we have a chance to really work on something that's going to make a difference to others and make a difference to our own lives, and we're blessed. And we're so blessed to have worked with so many great people to have put all this together and to realize that our work is carrying on, not only impacting those other AmeriCorps members, but all the people that the AmeriCorps members' lives are touching. So I'd say we are blessed people, and I wish you all the best, and I'm going to work and hope all of us will work to make AmeriCorps even a better and bigger program. Thank you.
My name is Diana Albra, and I'd like to be here today to kind of say hello and welcome and thank you for all the work you've done in national service. As we come to the 20th anniversary of all the work that national service has done in our countries, I want to share with you a little bit about my vision. National service is really a tool for us to kind of bring about change in our communities. It's a way for us to marry the past with the future. It's a way for us to encourage individuals to realize that they need to step outside of themselves, to turn to their communities and say, what can I do to make my communities better? It's a way for all of us to realize that only when we come together as a community of individuals to look at what's happening in our cities, to look at what national service can do to change the things that are happening in our cities that we'd like to see done better, or to improve the nature of the human spirit, that national service is at the center of that. I would encourage you as individuals, as we move into the next 25 years of national service in this country, to step back and say, what can I do? What leadership role can I play? How can I bring my neighbors and family together to realize the power of national service? And so when we meet again in 25 years, and hopefully I can be around then at that time too, I want us to have seen that our numbers have grown from 50 to 80 to 200,000 members in the field, and that national service is really on the tips of everyone's opportunity to talk about it, that it's not something that we have to explain. So join me 25 years from now again to show how national service can really turn our country around. And thank you all for your servant leadership that you do today, tomorrow, and in the future.
The big idea of national service for all as they come of age in this country is a long roller coaster ride, beginning with William James at the beginning of the 20th century. But my watch, which was the hardest job I've ever loved, to quote a Peace Corps slogan, came with the closing of the whole government, one of the issues of which, a small one as the amounts go, was funding AmeriCorps. And in the wave that had swept Congress, we were terminated, and the government closed down. It didn't pass by the Senate. We survived. Bill Clinton held his ground. The new AmeriCorps was underway with enough people to fight for it. And by the end of the decade and the end of Clinton's administration, we had reached 50,000. Now, Clinton had raised the standard to all Americans. He repeatedly said it in his campaign. It was the heart of what he was asking. And the difficulty that we've all faced is that the dependence on getting funds from the Congress has led to something so far short of all that I think that today, looking forward, now at 80,000 positions, we need to remember what the big idea is, which is that coming of age, all Americans should have an opportunity to be supported for a year or more of service. And we're a long ways short of that, but the country needs that idea more than it ever did right now. And that's why the assembly of those who helped put it together, who have over the years fought the fight, is such a great occasion. provided we go forth from this and raise the standard of the big idea. And to do our duty, we have to be more inventive, once again. And this is a story of social invention that has not ended. And I hope that in the next 10 years, we close the gap toward the goal of all Americans, that great American word, all, have this opportunity for service.
20 years ago, AmeriCorps was still an idea. It was an idea born of the idealism and the innovative and entrepreneurial spirit of a terrific White House, of a bipartisan group of members of Congress, senators and governors, entrepreneurial nonprofits, and a business community that was willing to take a risk on the power of national service. At that time, Melinda Hudson, our colleague, told us that a measure of our success would be whether our elderly parents understood what we did for a living. And 20 years later, today, I can proudly say that my parents do understand what I did for a living and are very proud of the work that we've all done to create such a vibrant field. Look at what we've done. I mean, we've got incredibly vibrant state service commissions in every state in the country. We've got a terrific group of AmeriCorps grantees. We've got almost 1 million people who've gone through the AmeriCorps program. We've got over 150 mayors who are now implementing service as a strategy to get things done in their cities. We have a lot to be proud of. But I'm not going to stop working until every person who wants to give a year of service to his or her country can wear this A. Thanks.
Good evening. I'm Les Lenkowsky, and I'm sorry I cannot be with you this evening, but I want to congratulate all of you who have done so much to build up AmeriCorps over the last 20 years, and especially those of you who have served in it. Thanks for your service. Shortly after becoming the corporation's CEO in September 2001, I saw an email from an AmeriCorps member working with the Red Cross in Lower Manhattan to help victims of the terrorist attacks on the World Trade Center. The hours are long, she wrote, the cases are stressful, the food is fattening, but all in all, we wouldn't want to be anywhere else right now. That is when I knew that national service had an important role to play in helping Americans answer the question that was on everyone's lips: what can I do to help my country? A few months later, in his first State of the Union address after the attacks, President Bush called on all Americans to serve their country in its time of need by volunteering, joining the Peace Corps and Senior Corps, or signing up for an expanded AmeriCorps, not just to help hard-pressed police, fire, and other first responders, but also to strengthen communities, teach children, and encourage development and education in all corners of the world, especially the Islamic ones. This time of adversity, President Bush said, offers a unique moment of opportunity, a moment we must seize to change our culture. Through the gathering momentum of millions of acts of service and decency and kindness, I know we can overcome evil with greater good. And Americans responded to this call, as they are continuing to do by joining AmeriCorps.
Hi, I'm Rosie Mauk. I was Director of AmeriCorps from 2001 to 2006. I'm really sad to not be with you all in person today, but I'm thrilled to be a part of the celebration of our AmeriCorps in some small way. Since I first met Eli Siegel as he was on his way to speak to Governor Ann Richards in Austin, Texas, about this new idea for our country called AmeriCorps, I was hooked. I was asked to speak today for a few minutes on managing growth and targeting resources. That caused me to pause. The pause was a time in our history when that's exactly what we were doing, managing growth. It was right after 9/11 and President Bush's call to service for all citizens to serve our country, and so many people responded. It was an exciting time and a time of learning for all of us at headquarters and especially in the field. We did put many new processes in place to manage our great growth. Good lessons learned during a really tough time. I believe it was also a time when we first learned to target resources in a concentrated, long-term way. Members of Congress and the administration wanted all of our programs to leverage resources in order to be sustainable. And I think we did that. On behalf of the almost 1 million Americans who have served our country and their communities, especially on behalf of my daughter Becky and her husband Drew, who served in AmeriCorps, and now Jenny Mauk, who works passionately for AmeriCorps every day, I applaud all of you. I applaud all of us for your service, and thank you for giving me this opportunity to celebrate with you today.
Hi, I'm David Eisner. I was CEO of the Corporation for National and Community Service from 2003 to 2009. We grew AmeriCorps from about 50,000 members to over 75,000 members. We professionalized some of our systems and services, and we worked hard to grow bipartisan support on Capitol Hill for AmeriCorps and national service. The biggest thing that happened during our time was our response to Katrina. Tens of thousands of AmeriCorps members made a huge difference after Katrina in Louisiana, Mississippi, Texas, and elsewhere. And it wasn't just their amazing service, and it's not just the work that they continue to do to improve lives and communities in the Gulf Coast. It's that across America, people began to recognize that AmeriCorps isn't just something nice to do. This is something that was vital, crucial, so important to improving the communities and lives who needed it after that terrible hurricane. I'm so proud of all of the AmeriCorps members who serve and all of them who go back to their communities after service and continue to strengthen those communities. It's a wonderful time to celebrate 20 years of AmeriCorps. It's an even better time to resolve that over the next 20 years, we're going to make AmeriCorps even stronger. We're going to make it universal. And we're going to continue to improve lives and strengthen communities. Thank you very much.
John Gomperts. I worked on the AmeriCorps legislation when I was legislative director for Senator Harris Wofford, 1993, 94, and then I became the Chief of Staff at the Corporation for National Community Service in February 1997, served until 2000, and I came back to the corporation as Director of AmeriCorps from 2010 to 2012. For me, the heart of AmeriCorps, I mean, we're here celebrating all kinds of great people who were involved in the creation and the leadership and the management of AmeriCorps. But to me, the heart of the AmeriCorps story is those people who have raised their hand and served in AmeriCorps. Always, always it comes back to mostly young people, but people of all ages who raise their hand and say, I want to spend a year in service. That to me is absolutely the core, most important thing. And what those people go on to be as leaders in their communities and in the country remains the greatest legacy of AmeriCorps.